Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us on the Scabbard. Yeah, this team is just frustrating to watch, isn't it? It doesn't stop. They do a great game against the Vegas Golden Knights, and then they crap the bed against the Arizona Coyotes, a largely listless performance. But there is good news as the Sabres are in red and black tonight. And the return of one Jack Quinn. Jack Quinn is back. He's playing his first game tonight. Since rupturing his Achilles tendon in June, just before the draft. So not quite, um, not quite Aaron Rodgers, uh, although Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back still. But yeah, good to have Jack Quinn back. Watched some highlights of his from last season. Got me in the mood. I was getting fired up watching those, and then remembered that we're watching this team. Uh, yeah, so let's talk about the game against Arizona. It was tough to watch. It was another case of the 11-7 striking again. Again, management of this franchise can't make a choice on the back end. So we have to sit there and see seven defensemen, and then there's no offensive rhythm because you've got these guys cycling in and out of lines. And, we paid the price. Offensively, we paid the price. Off a team that won, that scored 5 goals the night before, looked really good doing it. Um, uh, you know, oh well, you can't sit Eric Johnson 2 games in a row. Okay, well then pull somebody else out if you really have to play him. This 11-7 just doesn't work. Yeah, you're going to find a game or two where they might win, but in the long run, and especially on the second game of a back-to-back, when you're trying to manage your energy across your lines, you're not going to do that with 11-7 because you're going to be double shifting guys all night long. And we saw towards the end of the game, I don't think Rasmus Dahlin left the ice for the final 5 minutes of that game. Um, and again, that's the second of a back to back. And yeah, Arizona was playing back to back as well, but they didn't have to travel. Um, and yeah, it was a short trip between Vegas and Phoenix, but still, you got to travel, get up. Either you travel the night after the game, so you're getting into a hotel at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then getting up and going to the rink, or taking a maintenance day, whatever you do. Um, but yeah, if you're trying to manage your team's energy on the second part of a back to back, you can't do 11-7. You've got to do 4 lines, rolling them, trying to keep them on even time as much as possible. Yes, towards the end of the game, if you're behind, you can start giving guys more time on the top lines. But if you're just cycling through your forwards and double shifting the entire game because you chose to dress 7 defensemen, you're doing yourself a disservice. Let's be honest. First period was rather dull. I mean, the Coyotes carried the play probably the first 15 minutes. Sabres did have a little bit of a flourish towards the end of the period, and got into the second period and played fairly well. They were able to create chances. Um, it was a very decent start to the period, and then it wasn't. They had really good zone time. All of a sudden, the puck pops over or the Okposo went to take get himself off the ice and try and do a shift in the middle of the offensive zone time. Pass back to the point, and there was no one there. Led to the puck being dumped down below the goal line. And I don't know what the hell Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was doing in that instance. I mean, he just skated around and held the puck and then turned it over. Fan on the pass, turned it over, and it's easy goal, 1-0. Deflated the Sabres for the rest of the period. They did not respond well. Arizona carried the play the rest of the period. They carried the play early in the third period, ended up getting the second goal. And from there, they really just locked it down. A lot of what the Sabres were doing, if they got any zone time, even during the good stretches of the second period, really wasn't in the high danger areas. That was all on the boards, all towards the top of towards the blue line, but not any like long distance shots to test Vejmelka, test his, because he was giving up rebounds. He was eminently beatable in that game, and they beat him the other night. Like there was no reason why we couldn't have replicated the effort, but there was not that drive to do the things you need to do to win a game, and therefore the Sabres take a loss 2-0. Um, and yeah, and the Sabres need to figure out who you're going to sit. You got a dude that you're never playing on the back end. And I was looking up the stats. Sabres actually put out a nice thing every day, the game notes. As much as people like to crap on Jacob Bryson, uh, he was in the lineup for 3 wins. He's played 3 games. I thought it was 2. He's played 3 games, including the only 2 back-to-back wins that we've had. I believe Paul Hamilton shared out after the game that the Buffalo Sabres are 1-9-3 after a win. So there's only been 1 2-game winning streak, nothing beyond that. We had a 3-game point streak the other night, but that fell by the wayside when we crapped the bed in Colorado. This team can't get out of its way, and I don't know what's broken with this team. That's the crazy thing. I mean, other than the effort's not there on a night-to-night basis, they seem to put it together against really good teams. We're actually seeing this with the Bills. They're putting together a really good run because they're playing really, really good teams, and they have to. There's no choice at this point for the Bills to be able to play the playoffs. They've got to go on a run. But their best games this season have been against the top teams. When we played the Dolphins, they kicked the crap out of them. They should have won that Eagles game. They beat Kansas City and Dallas in back-to-back weeks. So their top competition, they've done really well against it. They've really just kind of brain cramped against some of the lesser competition. But for the Sabres, it's the same thing. They played well against top competition, except for that Colorado game. And they crapped the bed against other teams that they should beat. And to me, I just can't figure it out. So if any of y'all have any ideas, please let me know. I don't think it was a case that they just completely overachieved last season, and this is kind of the comeback season. I hope it's not, but maybe it is. Stat of the night was that Karel Vejmelka stopped 28 of 28 shots in that 2-0 win. Yeah, not much else to say about that. The Sabres put out the PR for the Sabres put out a thing talking about point streaks. They couldn't talk about any point streaks for the Sabres today. They can only talk about point streaks against the Columbus Blue Jackets because everybody's got a 0 for now. So 2-0 was the final. But let's turn the page, which we've had to do quite a bit this season. Turn the page. Let me get the chat screen open. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please feel free to dump it in there, and I'll be happy to respond. Jackets preview tonight. The Jackets come in at 10-17-5. That record looks awful. They played the same number as Buffalo, same number of games, and they're only 4 points behind the Buffalo Sabres. They're the worst team in the Eastern Conference. That tells you where we're at. The win against Vegas actually put us a point ahead of Montreal. Montreal's now back 3 points ahead of the Buffalo Sabres in the standings. We're back in 7th. Thank God for the Ottawa Senators scuffling around, or we'd be 8th. Yeah. Boone Jenner leads the team in goals with 13, and Jack Werenski on the back end leads in assists with 22 and points in 23. So only 1 goal, but 23 points on the season. So good production from the back end. And goaltending has been a major issue. Actually, injuries have been a major issue for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're on their 4th goaltender tonight. I believe it's Tarasov is who are playing. He's playing in his 2nd game. He got lit up by the New Jersey Devils the other night. But the Sabres have, been fine with letting these young goaltenders who have nothing to prove, or there's nothing pointing to them having success against the Buffalo Sabres, and the Sabres completely crap the bed. So I don't know. So Daniel Tarasov is the listed starter tonight, backed up by Elvis Merzlikins. who is technically the best goaltender in Columbus. He's got almost a 500 record. Um, so we maybe, I don't know, we may be getting a break and getting Tarasov. Um, but yeah, so the Blue Jackets, their four projected lines via daily faceoff. We got Marchenko, Voronkov, and Chinnikov. Second line of Bemstrom, Sillinger, and Johnson. Third line of Goudreau. This is a hell of a third line. Goudreau, Fantilli, and Danforth. And fourth line of Tessier, Corrali, and Olivier. Yeah, that's a interesting third line. It may be one of those, maybe one of these coaches that says every line is a first line type deal. But clearly, that third line's the best thing they got. So let's see. Blue Jackets projected defensive lineup. The team point leading Zach Rowinski with Eric Goodbranson, Ivan Provorov, who came over in a deal with the Philadelphia Flyers in the offseason, with Peak Juracek, the prospect defenseman for the Blue Jackets, who I think he was drafted the same year as Owen Power, like third, is now with Blankenberg on the back end for the third pairing for the Columbus Blue Jackets. As I mentioned before, the goaltenders tonight, Tarasov and Merzlikins. Maybe the Buffalo shows up tonight. I don't know. Blue Jackets scratches. This is where I talk about the injuries on this team, because this team could be a lot better. Damon Severson, Adam Boquist, Jack Roslovic, Boone Jenner, their top goal scorer, and Patrick Laine, one of their top offensive threats, all on IR. This is a busted up bunch. And Jenner is out for a while. I think he's got a broken jaw. Laine's got a fractured collarbone. All five of these guys will be starting for the lineup, starting in the starting lineup if they were healthy. Again, maybe the Sabres can take advantage of this. But, Columbus has always played Buffalo really tough, whether it's in Buffalo or in Columbus. The last year, the Sabres did get the better of them in two starts. Devin Levi did get the win in the second game, but got to watch out for Columbus. They can frustrate us like no one else. Or no, we went 2-1, I think, against Columbus. There was a game we lost in the early January, I think, for Columbus. So Sabres projected forward lines: Benson, Thompson, Tuck, Middlestat, Cousins, Paterka, Olofsson, Yost, and Quinn, Robinson, Krebs, and Okposo. Now, a lot of people online are like, oh, could you put Olofsson and Jost with Quinn? Look, the dude's not played in 7 months. You're going to ease him back into the lineup. If he plays well, if he's got great jump and skating well, I wouldn't be surprised to see him scale up the lineup. Granato has proven that he's okay with making in-game changes on the lines. So if he does well, we'll see him go up. If he does poorly, then I'm not going to be surprised if perhaps the third line gets a little short shrift on the shifts. I'm not mad that he's in the lineup. Now, what I would have done if I was Kevin Adams and Don Granato is Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday of last week, if you're talking about playing him this week, send him down to Rochester, get him a couple games, get him up to game speed. Yeah, there's a difference between AHL and NHL game speed, but there is a vast difference between NHL practice and NHL game speed. So I think that only could have helped him. But, they got to get him in the lineup because they are struggling. The Sabres need to stack wins. They need to stack points at this point, and they are not doing that. Our defense pairings tonight, Darlene Samuelson, Owen Power, Henry Okiharu. Oh, I had that wrong. It's not Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson has been scratched tonight. It is Eric Johnson with Connor Clifton. Sabres goalies tonight will be Devin Levi with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen as the backup. What is up, Mr. Miller? How you doing, sir? Thanks for joining us tonight. So yeah, Levi starting tonight. He's making a very strong case for staying up here. Didn't think that 2 games in the AHL was enough to help turn his game around, but well, it's good to hear, brother. Thanks for joining us. Um, uh, but his play the last 4 games since he's been recalled, he's been stellar. Can he keep it up? Can the Sabres keep up playing well in front of him? We'll see. Sabre scratches tonight. Ryan Johnson is a healthy scratch. Jordan Greenway still day to day, getting closer and closer. Jacob Bryson, a healthy scratch. Zemgus Girgensson on the IRs, as well as Jeff Skinner. No real word on when we're going to get either one of those two back. Tonight's odds, the Sabres are a 1.5-goal favorite, so you have to wager. I hope that the Sabres win by 2 to win this game if you are betting. And the over-under is 6.5, so you have to hope that they score 7 goals combined or more to win the over, 6 and below to hit the under. So play responsibly, as I always tell you. Keys to the game. Don't let Columbus hang around. That's the worst thing that the Sabres have done this season is let teams that are not good hang around, especially like Montreal. Montreal games, we've let Montreal hang around. We've let them lead games so that we can, that we're expending energy trying to catch up in those games. Put your foot on their neck early. Keep it on their neck the entire game. I don't care if you do what you did last year in Columbus and drop 9 goals on them. I don't care if you drop 30 goals on them. Keep scoring. I don't care. Take it out on them. Take out the frustrations of the entire season on them, because that's the only way you're going to start playing well and start getting better and start sending messages out to the rest of the league. Jump a shaky goaltender. He gave up 5 goals the other night in his first start in the NHL this season. So get on Tarasov early. Get on Tarasov often, and do what Zach Benson does. I don't think the rest of the Sabres do this enough. You fire a shot in, and the next thing you should be doing is getting to the net and getting your stick into his gear, because that gets the goaltender off his, really off of his game, starts to get into his head. I would love to see the Sabres do more of that. And the only one who's doing that is Zach Benson, and he's been the best player that we've had this season. Let's see. On this date, December 19th, 1987, Lindy Ruff appears in his 500th NHL game. A 2-1 Sabres win against the Montreal Canadiens. So I miss Lindy. That's sad. I was so ready for him to be fired when he got fired. But damn, I miss some of that at least cohesiveness. And when they went on a long playoff drought, it was 3 years, not 13. Although, thank you to the New York Jets for missing the playoffs this year. You're at 13. If the Sabres miss the playoffs this year, they'll be at 13. Still not the technically longest drought in professional sports, because the Jets are a little bit longer. So on the farm, let's talk about the Rochester Americans. They are 12-8-2-1 on the season. They've dropped down to 4th in the AHL North. Lost to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. In fact, I gave that score as we were doing the game on Saturday. They lost 2-1. Yuri Kulik got the lone marker for the Rochester Americans. Now he's off playing for Czechia in the World Junior Championships, which start on Boxing Day. And for those of us in America, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. So watch the World Juniors. Probably the best. I will say it is the best international tournament, hands down. Absolutely best. Even better than I think it's better than the Olympic tournament. Olympic tournament can really depend on whether the teams are really up to play it. Like the first Olympic tournament was good with Hasek standing on his head and bringing the Czech Republic to the gold medal, but consistently the World Junior Hockey Championships is the best international tournament, and they play it every year. So I mean, You don't have to wait for every 4 years for that to go down. So they are taking on division leading Cleveland, who is Columbus's top farm club, on Wednesday. So when we convene again for the game against Toronto on Thursday, we'll have an update for the Rochester Americans. Hopefully they can pull out a win against Cleveland. They are like I said, division leading team, and they haven't played really well against them yet this season. So hopefully they'll have a better run of it against the Monsters. Down in Jacksonville, the Icemen are 12-9-2, third in the ECHL South Eastern Conference South Division. They dropped a 3-2 decision to South Carolina. We were talking about that game during the last episode. They fell down 3-0. They scored 2 goals in the third period, but came up short against the Washington Capitals ECHL affiliate. So they're hosting Florida tomorrow night, the Florida Everblades, best nickname in the ECHL. They are the Florida Panthers, fittingly enough, ECHL club. So that is that. Let's talk about the week ahead. So there's only 2 more games left for this week. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in town on Thursday, and then on Saturday, New York Rangers are in town, and that will start the 4-day off period for all NHL teams, which I think is a bad. I mean, yes, I get the familiar family things and stuff like that, but the NBA eats our lunch on Christmas because they've got pretty much a captive audience. I mean, because you're watching, who's going to watch like a bowl game between 2 6-6 teams when you've got like a top flight NHL or NBA game. I think this NHL should be able to schedule like one game. I don't care if it's like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Do it like the New York team so that they can be home. Do it, maybe have the New York teams play and the LA teams play, and that way they can be home with their families. But at least you have some competition against the NBA doing their thing. I just think 4 days without NHL hockey kind of sucks. Although the day after Christmas, the World Junior starts, so at least you have some hockey to watch, and really good hockey. So our next episode is Thursday at 6 p.m. versus Toronto, and so that will be the next episode. The episode after that, on the 23rd, with the New York Rangers, we're going to preview the World Junior Hockey Championships, talk about the team. So it's going to be a longer episode. I'm not sure if we're going to go up to the start of the game, or if I'm going to start a half hour earlier than I normally do, which is an hour before the game, to preview the Sabres prospects that are going to be playing in that game, or playing in that tournament, and giving you the lowdown on the New York Rangers on Saturday. Is that Saturday? Yeah, I think it is Saturday. Speaking of Saturday, just a weird thing with the Sabres schedule. But the Sabres are like, they've lost their last 5 or 6 games on Saturday. So they lost to Arizona on Saturday, this 18th. Then, I'm sorry, 16th. They lost to Montreal in a shootout on Saturday, the 9th of December. Then we go back to Saturday, the 2nd of December. We get roped by the Carolina Hurricanes 6-2. Then we go back to the 25th of November, Saturday night, get roped by the New Jersey Devils 7-2. And then the other one, Saturday, the 11th of November, they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-0. Last Saturday, victory was against the Toronto Maple Leafs, 6-4 win against the hated Leafs. And yeah, it's been kind of back and forth, or back many times in a row since then with the Sabres. There's not been that was kind of the end of a decent run for them, where they had beaten Colorado, beaten Philadelphia. They did lose to the Philadelphia Flyers, and then they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lost in overtime to the Carolina Hurricanes, and then Minnesota. After that, it's just been kind of downhill from there. A couple 3-game losing streak and a 4-game losing streak for the Sabres. mixed in with alternating wins and losses at other various points. This has been a tough season. Hopefully, I can turn it around. Hopefully, Jack Quinn is the key. I'm not hopeful. I'm not saying anything bad about Jack Quinn. I'm just saying putting all your hopes on a second-year player when the sophomore jinx is a thing is kind of foolhardy. So hopefully we start getting other players back, Skinner and Greenway. Not sure where Gergensons fits in after he comes back. But yeah. Anyway, that is the show tonight. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for the comments, Mr. Miller. Appreciate it. If you ever have comments or questions or anything about the Buffalo Sabres, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. But join us next time on Thursday at 6 p.m. when we talk about the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Have a good one, everybody.